How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. We are looking at another suggestion about what I see and how I might go about testing dogs, with resource guarding and how I might handle that. This is done. I'm assuming, with a shelter. I don't know. Rescue League of Boston. So shelters, they a lot of times if they have, high kill, or they have limited space, and dogs that are resource guarders, it takes extra resources to help those dogs. So sometimes, they can't help them in a timely manner. But resource guarding is absolutely trainable and treatable if you want, and you can manage them, and it's not a death wish for a dog, or it shouldn't be a death sentence. So I'm using all this footage under Fair Use Act for education, criticism, just giving my point of view, and trying to explain how I might handle things, or what I see. This is how to conduct the behavior evaluation on Matchup.
Introduction to rubber hand. Because fear of the rubber hand may influence the results of the test for possessive behavior, it is important to observe the dog's reaction to the hand alone before the beginning of Test 8. Record whether the dog is afraid, bites the hand, or attempts to play with it. Hold the dog on the leash. With the upper part of the hand...
So that was kind of almost like they were handing like a toy to the dog. So of course he's going to want to chew on it, but he's not biting it maliciously. He's playful with the hand as if it is a toy, which could teach him bad manners or not. I think it depends on how many times he's, reinforced for playing with this hand. So that's not really a big deal.
Clothing or laying flat against your arm and the rubber hand
dog sniffs, little foot went up, a little bit nervous. They move their head away and they open their mouth and start panting again. That's kind of a few tales of like a nervous dog.
With the hand close to the dog's head, allow the dog to investigate.
How cute.
Subtest 8, Possessive Behavior.
Okay, so this one's really important.
The first part determines if the dog guards wet food while eating. The second part determines if the dog guards a pig's ear while chewing on it. For safety reasons, all dogs over 40 pounds should be tethered to the wall or door using a 6-foot tether. Okay. Dogs under 40 pounds could be held on a leash by the recorder or third person, or may be tethered. If at any point a dog shows a...
Okay, so here we have stiffening, very, very dilated pupils, whites of the eyes. The dog is not moving away from the hand. This hand is in the bowl, touching their face. So this dog here is showing some, significant enough signs of resource guarding, which again still stems from fear. They're trying to protect their food. Who knows what their history is? Some dogs, it can just be, they learn it, or they nature versus nurture. They learn it later in life, or they're just kind of born with this, feeling uncomfortable about others in their food space. We got the growling. Do you mind?
Aggression to the rubber hand. You may choose to see if the aggression escalates or decreases.
So the dog is moving away.
Stop the test if the dog bites the hand.
Moving away, chooses not to bite the hand. So that, do you mind? I have 2 little kittens on me right now. They're trying to play with the keyboard. Dude, thank you. Thank you. Here, go over there, Squishy. So when working with a dog that does show that kind of resource guarding, I don't necessarily teach a dog that I don't expect the dog to put up with necessarily petting or, someone taking their food, messing with them a lot. I like to respect my dogs, but, if they're going into a home, yes, I want to teach them that they can tolerate, being touched by a person they have a bond with, they feel safe around. I want them to feel safe around their food. Can we teach them to tolerate petting and in their bowl? Yeah, sure. But I don't work with people who I don't make a dog submit because we have a kid that the parents aren't watching, whether you like that or not. Kid goes running around, gets in the dog's bowl, and the dog bites the kid, and the dog is put down because they're aggressive. If you have a dog that resource guards, whether you know it or not, even if you don't have a dog that resource guards, let them eat in peace. Let them live in peace. Okay? Don't let the kids go running around, jumping on the dogs, riding the dogs around, crawling all over their face, pulling at their tail and their ears, and getting in their food bowl. If you have a dog that resource guards and you have kids and you can't watch your kids for whatever reason, then at least let your dog eat in a kennel or in a different room or in the garage or the backyard or whatever. Just let them eat safely where they feel safe and pick up the bowl. It's not hard to manage an animal's life. I mean, we manage it anyway. We do everything. We control everything for them. If you're going to be actively working with them, then yes, I wouldn't expect every stranger to be able to go into a dog's bowl. But one or two people, to be able to touch them, maybe a vet or your regular vet, you can teach them to be okay, your dog to be okay with the vet touching them. I don't expect every dog to be okay being touched along their back, period, especially not when eating, and especially not when they're eating and they are a resource guarder. So there's a lot that goes into it. In the end, I want to teach the dog, I try to have realistic expectations and let the owners know that I work with to have realistic expectations. And I always teach them to have respect for the dog, utmost respect that, we're not going to take advantage of you when we, with this training. We're not going to get your trust and then betray it by, forcing you to put up with, people constantly in your food or constantly, fingers up your nose, your ears, or any of that.
Food. Fill bowl half full with wet food. Using the rubber hand, push the bowl just inside the limit of the tether or the leash, making sure there is no tension on the leash.
Very good. Very important, because the dog who's on, who feels tension can become more nervous.
Begins eating, walk past the dog and bowl and return. Using the rubber hand, pet the dog.
Yes, this is something that you can, bomb-proof your dog to. You can test them with this. You can make them comfortable or at least tolerate, having somebody touch them along their body while they're eating. But this to me is not a requirement. I get this is, a shelter and they want to make them as bomb-proof as they can. But I think it makes people smarter and safer when they learn, we can't just go treat this dog however we want. Anybody can get a dog from a shelter, but it doesn't mean you get to just treat them however you want. There's some shelters that are very picky. And yeah, I get it. There's politics and all this, the real world, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The dog doesn't care. I don't care. Dogs shouldn't have to put up with all the nonsense that we make them put up with. So, is touching them along the back while they're eating the worst thing in the world? No, I don't think so. But do we have to do it? Does our dog have to put up with it all the time? I also don't think so. I don't think they should.
Dog on the head and continue along the body.
This is just a basic
test. Place the rubber hand a few inches from the bowl and move it around the bowl in a circle. So
the dog is showing discomfort. They gave a couple lip licks. They're moving away from the bowl. So, or the hand. So the hand might be putting too much pressure on them. So they say, okay, the food is not enough for me to stay here. This is too much, pressure, making me too nervous. Maybe you're trying to come claim the food, whatever. So the dog is more intimidated by the hand, so they move and leave the food. And they start panting and showing kind of a stress pant. Not the end of the world. This is, a sign that you could look out for, that if I were to be interacting with the dog, whether it's my own dog or a dog I'm training or a dog in a shelter, especially a dog in a shelter, because they don't know me, they don't have a bond with me. If I were testing this, or just walking up to the food and they back away, I would immediately say, okay, I'm intimidating them. I don't want them to associate me as something fearful. I will back away. I'm not going to be one of those people like Cesar Millan or people who think, my dog should back away when I walk up to their bowl. That's just nonsense.
Place the hand on the outside edge of the bowl and move along the bowl. Then place the hand in.
Now, this would be more realistic training that I would teach, in that where you can come back to the bowl, you can touch it, but I'm not always going to be taking my hand, sticking it in their bowl or in their face or whatnot. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. If you're testing your dog for this, or especially in a shelter situation, that's different. But if you have your own dog at home, my Shiba Adonis would bring his bone to me so I could hold it for him because I was his human slave. He ate out of my hand a lot of times, or he was totally fine with me messing with his food in his bowl, mostly because he was so picky, and so I'd always have to go and add things or move him, or he was totally fine. I gave him lots of food. We worked with food in the hands, very consistently over the years. So he was totally fine. I could hug him and kiss him, and he wouldn't care if I was going around him. Not that I would take advantage of that, though. That's the whole point, is I'm not taking advantage. But he was comfortable with it.
Bowl next to the dog's
He didn't necessarily like it, but he was comfortable with it.
Put around for 2 seconds, not touching or pushing the dog's face.
Good. That's very good. That we can just take the bowl away. We're not trying to push the dog out of it. So very good.
Then pull the bowl away from the dog with the rubber hand. Return the bowl to the dog.
Good.
Pull the bowl away again and remove.
Oh, what a pretty little dog. Okay, so hand comes in. Dog was already very, very stiff. They barked, they growled, and they when they say uninhibited bite, bite inhibition is like having a soft bite. That was a hard bite. This dog says back off. Continues biting the hand, stiffens, and then goes back to bark inside the bowl.
Pig's ear. Place a
Even that dog can still be worked with. That's not it's more severe on the ladder of aggression with resource guarding, but it doesn't mean that they cannot be worked with.
Slippery rug next to the dog so the dog has a comfortable place to lay down and chew. Place the pig's ear on the rug. Allow the dog to chew on the ear for 30 seconds before continuing. Pet the dog on the head and body. Place the hand a few inches from the ear.
Now this would be a few signs. This would be the beginning signs where I would say, okay, don't keep chasing the dog. Like they're doing a test, but I've worked with clients where they said, I have to chase him around and this and that. And I tell them, don't start chasing the dog because you're going to teach them to progress, like the previous dog we saw, where they will start to bite, they might start to growl, and they say, hey, you're scaring me. So I want to teach the dog that my approach means absolutely nothing. I'm not going to try and take your pig ear. I've worked with a corgi who was very possessive of even a piece of plastic. I mean, it changed from day to day that he would protect. And he had an issue with food because when he was growing up, his 7 sisters bullied him out of the way to get all the food. So, he had, attachment to food, and he had, little issues like that. Not, but he was a great dog. And so we worked on that. So I would just, toss the treat away. He would let go of the bone, go get the treat, and immediately beeline back for his bone. I didn't even attempt to go for his bone. I would repeat that process, and then eventually he says, oh, you're not trying. Okay, so I can take my time. Then I would start slowly lowering down. I would begin touching the bone once and stand up, and he would start over again, where he would run back to his bone. Over the course of 10 minutes, if that, 5 or 10 minutes, I was able to, toss the treat away, so he's not within the vicinity of the bone. He lets go of the bone, gets the treat, I pick the bone up, and I put it right back down for him. And he was okay with that. He was actually more interested in the treat at that point than the bone. But I was able to do that with, fade out the treats. Or I always have a trade anyway. I would give him a Kong or another bone or something. But so you can work with dogs like this. But I don't suggest chasing them. Because now he gave you the warnings of moving away. So when you stay there, he says, you're chasing me. He stiffens up, and then he gives you a bark or a growl.
To remove the ear, toss a delicious treat 2 to 3 feet away from the dog.
Very good.
If the dog does not drop the ear, throw another ear away from the dog and try the trade again.
Very good. Very good. And that's how you trade.
Subtest 9. Toddler Doll. This subtest explores how a shelter dog may react when introduced to children. A life-sized Barbie doll is used for this test. While the handler holds the dog's leash, the recorder or third person carries the doll into the room like a child,
leaning into it,
with the doll's head level with the shoulder. When approximately 8 feet away from the dog, the doll is placed on the ground on her feet and the doll is walked forward toward the dog. When 3 feet from the dog, the doll is stopped and made to reach toward the dog by extending the arm.
This is a really good test.
Allow the dog to approach if the dog desires. Observe the dog's reaction for 10 seconds and record observation. Does the dog show friendly behavior?
Okay, so he barks, hackles go up. So at this point, I would not, as a trainer, I would not continue the approach of the dog because we know it's only going to make the dog worse. So do you, do this for the sake of the evaluation and teach the dog to practice this fearful behavior, and you reinforce that response or reaction, really? Or do you say, okay, we see that this is far enough, let's work with this dog? That's just my, my opinion.
Subtest 10. Strange-looking woman. This subtest explores how a
very,
dog may
very
react when introduced
happy
to
dog.
strangers.
Tall, stiff tail.
While the handler holds the dog's leash, the recorder or third person goes outside the room and dresses in a trench coat.
And all of these are really kind of like extremes to practice, to see where the dog is. I mean, I wouldn't expect most dogs that are owned, not even in a shelter, most dogs to be okay with this kind of stuff.
Hat, sunglasses, and cane. The recorder or third person enters the room.
Oh,
and
good.
walks
The dog
in
sat on
in
their
a
own.
Slightly bent over and unsteady gait toward the dog and says,
Hi, doggy. Can I pet you?
if no aggression occurs, the person continues to approach and speaks gently to the dog.
Yeah, in general, like also being a trainer, I would like to teach the dog not to go pulling towards the person because they can go from a state of excitement to very quickly aggression or reactivity. They can react very quickly. So I would work more on the dog walking up calmly, but that's a whole other.
3 feet
They're just
away, the person
they're just here for the evaluation.
reaches out with a closed hand to allow the dog to sniff if he or she desires to.
Good.
Observe the dog's reaction for 10 seconds and record findings. Subtest 11. Dog-to-dog interaction.
So this one's on a head halter for whatever reason. This one pulled immediately to go say hi to this one. This one's more restricted. This one's not. This would have me more worried. I don't like dogs sniffing on leash anyway because too many fights can break out, especially if they're pulling at each other. But that's just me.
Part 1 will involve one other dog. Choose a dog that is dog-friendly and approximately the same size as the dog being evaluated.
This is good. They're
Avoid
both
very
mirroring. They're doing the little C shape where they're kind of curved.
exuberant or assertive dogs that could scare the dog you are evaluating.
So this
Well-
dog's kind of staring more at him. He's more fearful.
The
And then
handler
he says,
holds
"Hey,
the
I'm excited."
evaluation dog's leash, and the recorder or third person holds the visiting dog's leash. The two dogs are walked past each other 3 feet apart.
Yeah, see, this dog is very nervous. This guy's like foaming at the mouth, not literally, but like really excited to go say hello. And a couple times he gets some short lips. So this is not how I would run. I don't think it's fair to call this an evaluation or this test. Judge the dogs on this test because you're really setting them up for failure. Because you're working really, really fast. So I don't think it's fair to judge them on for if they're dog friendly or not. Basically judge them for the what could be the rest of their life being adopted and whatnot based on one or two interactions.
If either dog bares teeth or snaps, do not continue.
See, that's exactly why you don't let them just lunge like that. Like he's walking on his back feet just to say hello to this dog. Do not let them meet like this. I mean, shelter or not, like it's just so dangerous. And I know, who knows how long ago this was, but just ow, that's my foot. I have a kitty eating my foot, but just
If not,
ow, 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 ow. That's my foot. Thank you. Let go. Ow. Let go, you little turkey.
walk the dogs toward each
So
other.
this guy's kind of pushing into this other dog's space. I would move around this way with the dog so that way we don't get the leashes tangled up.
And allow the dogs to greet each other. Keeping a
But
loose
good, he
leash,
did good, very good. He lowered his head and he walked away and this guy followed.
allow the dogs to
That was
continue
more appropriate.
breathing for up to 30 seconds. Move with the
This
dogs.
guy, yeah, this guy had his hackles up and now they're making eye contact. He has the whales of his eyes and like maybe a lip lick. So this guy might become I'll say aggressor, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's like an aggressive dog.
The circling occurs.
But that's why you always follow the leash and you don't let them twist around like that. Move your feet. Don't be just stationary and let your dog do all the work.
opposite the other person. If you note fear or aggression toward the dog you were introducing and felt another dog might be better tolerated, repeat with another dog.
So this dog is already just kind of like shark bait because his mouth is being controlled by the head halter. He's also more frustrated. He's not really paying attention. So I don't think this is really a fair enough evaluation of this dog because he has the head halter on.
Once you've completed all of these subtests, you will be able to calculate the dog's personality scores. On to the next part of the Match Up 2 Shelter Dog Rehoming Program, Behavioral Triage.
So anyway, that was just, what I saw. It was just suggested that I take a look at this. Of course, nobody's perfect. This is not about being perfect. I'm just trying to point out things that I happen to see. Heaven knows I'm not perfect. You don't have to follow anything that I say. That's not what my channel is about. It's not to say, follow me and don't go follow these people by any means. Please follow whomever you like, whoever you resonate with, whatever information resonates with you. I just try to give, a voice to dogs and give them the best life possible. So thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Go say hi to your little critters and give them a little kiss from me. And until next time, practice positivity.